Okay. So we go from one Indiana Jones story to the other. So this is, once again, this is a film that's been long anticipated. It's been long awaited. I never saw Kingdom of the Crystal Skull because I just I wasn't going to subject myself to that. I think people had an idea, you know, a lot of people, including myself, would have liked if Indy had just ridden off into the sunset in '89. And if that had happened, I think everybody would have been okay with that. But coming back to try and do another Indiana Jones movie, even a young Indiana Jones movie with his son, and it just didn't work. It's one of those films that everybody just they forget about. Never happened. So that being said, so this one, and we alluded to it in the other piece, talks about the reactions. So here's what some of the critics are actually saying about this new Indiana Jones movie. Okay, so this comes to us from the THR. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny premiered at the Cannes Film Festival on Thursday night. So it was Thursday night that this actually premiered. At the Glitzy Palace screening, director James Mangold and stars Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Mad Mikkelsen, Boyd Holbrook, Ethan Osdor enjoyed a warm 5-minute standing ovation from the crowd. But it was Indy himself, Harrison Ford, who was at the center of attention, with the actor visibly moved to tears by the reception. Not soon after the premiere, the first reviews of the film, which will hit theaters on June 30th, came trickling in. As of late, the early critical reaction to the fifth film, that's much beloved for the Indiana Jones franchise, has been decidedly mixed. A common theme among the early reviewers is that this is better than Indy's last outing, rather the polarizing Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull from 2008, but not much better. So that is not good news. Many reviewers took issue with the digitally de-aged Ford, which we just talked about, in some of the scenes and the use of CGI overall. But there was praise aplenty for Waller Bridges and, of course, Ford, who still oozes charm as the adventurer archaeologist. So I'm going to read you here below are a couple of key excerpts of some of the most prominent early reviews. So the Hollywood Reporter's David Rooney wrote, quote, what the new film scripted by Jez Butterworth, John Henry Butterworth, David Culp, and Mangold, with the feel of something written by the committee, does have is a sweet blast of pure nostalgia in the closing scene, a welcome reappearance foreshadowed with a couple of visual clues early on, end quote. But that, quote, part of that dims the enjoyment of the concluding chapter is just how glaringly fake so much of it looks, end quote. So that's one of them from THR. Here's the Guardian's Peter Bradshaw. Okay, he was more positive about it, and he described Dial of Destiny as, quote, quite a bit of zip and fun and narrative ingenuity with all the MacGuffin silliness that Kingdom of the Crystal Skull really didn't have, end quote. The review goes on to say the finale is wildly silly and entertaining, and that Dial of Destiny is put to an audacious use to which makes light of the whole question of defying aging and the gravitational pull of time. Indiana Jones still has a certain old class, is still an old class, has a certain old class, end quote. So here's the IndieWire's David Ulrich. He didn't pull any punches in his review, writing that, quote, not only is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny an almost complete waste of time, it is also a belabored reminder that some relics are being left alone where they are and where they belong. If only any previous entries in the series had taken great pains out to point that out, he said. Ulrich took issue with the many aspects of the film, but crucially, it was, quote, safe. Empire's John Newton. I'm not going to read all of these to you because these are all different. I just want you to get a couple of ideas. So In contrast, Empire's John Nugent was very high on Dial of Destiny, writing, quote, all of the hallmarks of the series are there that you'd hope there'd be, lovingly preserved in archaeological treasures, Nugent wrote. He welcomed Mangold's more somber direction and concluded by writing, Indy's final date with Destiny is a burning finale that might divide audiences, but if you join him for the ride, it feels like a fitting goodbye to cinema's favorite grave robber. Let's talk about this because this is one of those things where I just saw Fast 10 the other day. And by the way, as I said at the top of the show, I am going to be doing a spoiler cast later on today, probably around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So come back for that, guys. I'll going to put that out on my Twitter, which is below for all you guys to check out. So come join me for that. The reason I bring up Fast 10 is because it was much of the same thing. Okay, I'm not going to give all of it because we're going to do a spoiler cast later. But what I will say is this: Fast 10 was wild and crazy, and I even put out a tweet about it. Fast 10 was wild and crazy. Okay, and it was all over the place, like all over the place. And the thing is that I think that if this is what it is you got to remember, Harrison Ford's 82, 81, 82 years old. The thing is, okay, I like a good story. I'm all about story. But at some point, you just need to pack it in. Okay? You need to pack it in. And I think that while this is this is one of the most beloved characters in cinema, right? He really is. When you really go back and look at Harrison Ford's career, he had a 20-year span where he was in two of the not only top, but the greatest franchises of all time, right? He was in Star Wars, and he was in Indiana Jones. So he did Star Wars in 77, okay? He did Empire in 80. He did Raiders in 81, okay? He did Jedi in 83, okay? He did Temple of Doom in 84, okay? He did Blade Runner in, I believe, 85, okay? He did something else, okay? He did Last Crusade in 89, okay? And then from that, he transitioned to an action star. Okay, he did Clear and Present Danger, he did Patriot Games, he did Witness in 88. He's done drama regarding Henry. This is a unbelievable actor. So when he gets put off into the sunset in 88, 89 with Last Crusade, everybody said that was perfect. That was perfect. But to hear one of those reviews say this is not much better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, that's not a good sign. Not only for indie fans, and they're going to come out and see it regardless, but I think they're going to be disappointed, but for the franchise. And not only the franchise, the studio. Because they spent $290 million on this movie. Look, we're going to be covering it here on the channel. I'm still going to go see it. And the thing is that I can't wait for this movie. I hope, fingers crossed, I hope this does well. But, it is what it is. And I hope that Universal or the studio, I hope they've learned their lesson. Because maybe they decide, okay, we need to move on from this. So, I don't know. When you get mixed reviews, Now, I would be very curious to see, because we're about a month out from this. I'll be very curious to see what kind of, when we do projections for this, or they do projections and we talk about it here on the channel, how big it's going to be. Right? So, I mean, you have some of the biggest movies of the summer coming out still. Okay? You've got The Flash on the 16th. You've got Transformers on the 9th. Okay? You've got Across the Spider-Verse coming out on the 2nd. So that's going to cannibalize some of your box office. It'll be interesting to see. Anyways, guys, what do you think about the reviews of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny? Are you a hardcore indie fan? Which one of the Indiana Jones film is your favorite? Is it Raiders of the Lost Ark? Is it Last Crusade? Is it Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? Are you going to go see this opening weekend? Leave me your thoughts down in the comments, and I'm going to get back to everybody.